Quiet on set. Picture is up. All right, roll sound.
Rolling.
Roll cameras.
Cams rolling.
And 3, 2.
Hey everybody, welcome to Hank's Think Tank. Good morning, it's Friday. Finally we have some sunny weather and I'm really digging it. I've got some good guests in here today. We're going to talk a little bit about Montgomery County and a little bit about our community. So this show is about the RB Tullis Library, which is located right next to the MSED building at 99 and 59 or 69, whichever way you want to talk about that freeway. It's kind of changed over the past few years, but we've got some interesting concepts. We're going to talk a little bit about the viability of libraries, a little bit about the Friends of RB Tullis, and how it all came about. I have with me today Janet King. Good morning, Janet. How you doing?
Good morning, Hank.
And Indira Morrow. And both these ladies are very, very knowledgeable, and I can't wait to get into this discussion. I think it's going to be good. And so let's get started a little bit. Let's talk about the viability. You know, with the internet the way it is, a lot of people are of the opinion that if they want any information, they can get it off the internet, so why should they go to the library?
And that's very true. They can, but the library offers so much more than just information. There are so many community programs available to seniors, to children, to young adults. So many ways that the library can be involved in what's going on with people. I'd like to give you an example, if I may.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, for example, our fiscal year runs from October to September. In the fiscal year 21-22, our library, Tullis, not the whole system, just Tullis, offered 152 different programs to the community.
Really?
There were 4,239 participants in that program. And another number that just boggles my mind is that between October 2022 and December 2022, that's 3 months, over 21,000 people came in and out of Tullis Library. So those numbers alone, regardless of why they were there, speak to viability, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's great. That's a much larger number than I assumed would be.
Well, we have a summer reading program every summer, and 845 people signed up to participate in the program. It's a reading program where you sign up and you can win prizes. And 1,826 people came to the programs, the summer reading program offered in all of June and the first part of July.
Wow.
So that's a lot of people in our community seeing that the library is useful for them.
That is.
The point of the summer reading is how many books you can read.
Right.
And you record that on a app that on the internet, and the library counts them. RB Tullis has the highest summer reading participation of any of the libraries in Montgomery County.
Now, is this mainly kids or is it adults?
Nope. Children, adults, everybody.
Really?
Yes.
And so are there, in the summer reading program, are there groups like the kids group and the adults group, or is it all just together?
Part of the summer reading is everybody together, but they do capture statistics on the age groups, age-appropriate books that are recommended as well.
Wow, that's cool.
It is.
And what type of reading is it? I mean, is it any kind of book, nonfiction, fiction?
Anything.
Anything you want to read?
Yep.
Wow, I wonder how many books on average gets read by each person.
In the program, I think runs around 6 weeks, right, Janet?
That's correct, yes.
And I have averaged at least a book a week during the program, right? That's my goal.
Wow.
I know others that win the prizes are doing 2 and 3 books a week, you know? So I think it's exciting.
That's a lot of yeah. I
It
mean,
is.
Even if I read a lot, it'd be hard for me to make it through a book in a week. I mean, I'm just being honest. But I don't retain what I read because what happens, I'll start reading and I'll think of something that I've read and my mind will go off. I'm still reading, but I'm just not retaining it. So I got to start over again. And that's what times me out on stuff like that.
I do that too sometimes, and it's just
God, I got to train myself out of that.
well,
somehow.
not necessarily. It's just the way your mind works, Hank.
I think moments make a difference too. You know, there are times when I don't read. I think the last few months have been impossible for me to concentrate because of the move. Right, physically moving the house, so that has consumed me. And it's only, I think, in the last 3 weeks or so that I've gotten back to reading, and I find myself doing the same thing. All of a sudden I'm going, did I contact that contractor about doing X, Y, Z? Or did I remember to put this on the grocery shopping list?
I got you. I understand.
It's busy lives.
Yeah, for sure. And so how many programs did you say you had again? And this was in 2022?
Let me see. We had 152 programs.
150, and the summer reading program was just one of those.
Well, no, that would include summer reading programs. The summer reading program is a broad term.
Okay.
Within the framework of that, we have not only the reading, which you can get prizes for, but they do programs for children. They do workshops for adults. They do, for example, the escape room for young adults. They do all sorts of programs within that umbrella. So those would be included in that number.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a lot of programs, too.
It is, and the variety of things that are offered to people across the spectrum, it just boggles my mind. I have to say, and I'm sure Indira would agree with me, that the librarians we have at Tullis are some of the most creative and imaginative people I've ever encountered in my life. Particularly that children's department does amazing things with the little ones.
That's great.
The participation for parents coming in for their children to be read to for the reading programs is phenomenal. You drive by and that parking lot is just absolutely full.
That's
and
really
that
good.
Every time for the reading, being read to, the children are being read to by different people.
So have y'all found that it's kind of a seasonal thing? So, I mean, do you have more people come in during the summer than you would like during the winter? Or?
I don't think so. Do you?
No.
No.
In fact, we're surprised sometimes at the volume of traffic that comes in at weird times. What we have seen just before the holidays was actually a little bit of a drop, and I think that speaks more to the economy than anything else.
Absolutely.
And the holidays, if you have only limited time, you pick and choose. But right after the holidays, we have been inundated with donations to the point where we are having this free book giveaway next week with HARTA. We are joining with the Houston Retired Teachers Association. We are overwhelmed by the donations, both from the library culling their books and people donating to us. 2 weeks ago, we had 11 carts of books, 3 layers deep, double books in some cases. And we have to go through those.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Yeah. And we have functionally 5 working people in the Friends of the Library. While we have more members, we have 5 people that actually work in the bookstore. And that was just overwhelming. So this book, and we don't have the space, physical space to house that many books of any kind.
Right.
So the book giveaway hopefully will work multiple purposes. A child will get a book that they've never owned. There are children that have never owned a book that'll get one free. There are teachers that can come in and take some of the collections of books that we have for their students, also free. So we're having from 10 to noon on the 11th is teacher time. And from noon to 4 is the general public.
And how does it work? You just come in and
Yep.
pick out a book and it's yours.
Yep, exactly.
Wow. That's great.
It's a really amazing program.
Yeah, it
Hank.
is a good program.
And of course, that's the goal of libraries. That's our goal as friends, is to get books in the hands of people, adults, children, whoever wanders in. We want them to have books.
Yeah, absolutely. The library is such a sacred place.
It is.
I mean, when you think about it, when you think about all of the authors that took all the time to write down their thoughts, and that's I consider music to be an extension a person's soul.
Oh,
But I
yes.
think writing is the same thing.
It is.
Oh,
you
it
know?
is.
And so when you think about all those souls on all those shelves in there, it's a great place.
Well, and I think too, when I think of writers, I think of such a highly specialized skill. I can sit down and write a decent letter or of recommendation or a memo, but a book, my goodness, think what that requires.
Right. Especially something that's fiction.
Yes.
You know, I mean, how do you give birth to something like that? You know?
Imagination is an amazing thing.
Imagination, and I taught history for so many years. So when I read books, my first thought is, well, is this true? Did this really happen? Did she make this up? Particularly if you're doing historical things. And then I start off wandering into research, and am amazed at what you have to do to just lay a foundation for writing a book.
Right.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it really is. I've actually tried a couple of times, and it didn't work out. So it's
Writing
I don't think
is
it's
hard.
I don't think it's an
Writing's hard.
imagination.
Writing
part.
is hard, Indira.
It really is. But going back to your imagination, I think the only way that you can build your imagination is through reading, because you've got to be able to use that part of your mind to expand your horizons enough to be able to see beyond those and create.
Absolutely.
You know?
And for me, as a child, right, in India, we didn't have all of the distractions that you have here. There was no TV. Radio was limited and,
Right.
totally boring to a kid, right? So we had word games and we had books. That's what we did. And for me, it was an escape. I could go anywhere in the universe through a book.
With a book.
Sure. Yeah.
I didn't have to stay in this place I was in growing up, which was not necessarily the greatest place in the world at any given point in time. So it was, for me, the escape, to be able to be taken anywhere.
I love it. That's great.
I think Indira has hit on the very essence of reading, that it takes you places you may never go, but that you dream about. For me, I look at the library and I look at those children that come in with their parents, and that tickles a memory for me because my dad was my library partner. We went to the library every weekend. And because I grew up in the 50s, we didn't have TV yet, and we had to entertain.
It was just coming about.
It was just coming
Yeah.
about, yes. And so my dad took me to the library every weekend, and he got books, and I got books. So when I see these children coming in with their parents, that reminds me of where I first learned to love the library was with my dad.
Right.
And I think that's a very important connection that children have with their parents in the library. And knowing that their parents support the idea of let's read, let's learn. I think reading is such a strong basis for all learning.
Yeah, I agree. And the other thing that it does that I think is kind of in the background but means a lot is community. Because there's such a good sense of community at the library. And any community worth its salt has a good library.
Oh, it does.
So I think that if we could get back to that and start visiting the library on a regular basis, that you would again start to see that nucleus come back.
Yes.
And the sense of community be there more than we have now. Libraries are important. A lot of people don't realize it.
They are, and
You know?
and you're hitting a really important point, that sense of community and how we give and get. We
There you
talked
go.
about
Mm-hmm.
Harvey. Kingwood Library was out of commission because they flooded. And our Friends of the Library and this library opened their doors to anybody coming in, could come in, bring their computers, their phones, they could work from here. We extended the Wi-Fi so that more people could actually come and utilize the library here because others had been damaged and closed. Those are just, nobody asked for this. It was something that we felt
Right.
was something that necessary, and it's part of what you do to give back to the community, right?
Yeah, and isn't that just an awesome thing? I mean,
Absolutely.
it's just, It's such a community thing that you just hardly hear about anymore these days because everybody's so isolated. We're all on our phones, we're all on our computers, and people don't really even have discussions that much anymore. And a library is a good place to start all that because you can gain some knowledge, you can get involved in these programs, and you can start to become a member of an active community again. It's a good thing.
Another thing people don't realize is that the library offers rooms. You know, you don't have to pay for them. You go to the library, you can reserve a room for an event. I think that they have some conditions, you know, you can't bring guns and shoot them there, things like that.
That makes sense.
Yeah, not set up for that. Yeah. But a community group, a women's club that decides that they want to have a meeting, they're going to run some event and they need to do some planning. They could come and rent the room, have everybody there, do some brainstorming. And they don't charge for this feature,
great.
The library.
That's great.
I think one of the things that really impresses me, and I referred back to the fact that I taught high school for years, so young people are important to me, is the programs they have there for young adults, for teenagers. The woman who runs that department is just incredible. And she has all kinds of programs. And, you know, teenagers, they're blasé.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
they show up. They participate. They love being there. There's a room set aside specifically for the young adults. They can go into, they can study, they can charge their things, they can read, they can do whatever they want to. And then she has these programs for them to participate in, and they show up and they do it. Well, I think that's amazing.
That's great. That's fantastic. So let's talk about Friends of RB Tullis. So how did this get started? And
The Friends of the Library is a nationwide organization.
Okay.
Virtually every library you go to will have one. Not all, but most of them do. They publish a newsletter. We get that newsletter, and they publish events that are happening and everything. The Friends got started long before I ever got associated with it. I think they first got started when the library was in the old building where the Justice of the Peace offices are now.
I remember when it was there. Yeah.
And it's a small organization. We don't have a large membership. We would love more members if anyone's interested. But I came to it about, I guess, maybe 10 years ago after I had retired.
Okay.
And it's the same in every library, whether you're in New Caney, Texas, or New York City with the Friends. Their goal is to help the library. Now, how do we do that? We write for grants. We have book sales. Go on, Indira.
Yeah, so these donations that we get, we have a bookstore where we sell those books.
Okay.
They're inexpensive. A hardback that came out yesterday that's $25 you'll pay $2 for.
Wow.
In our library, right? Paperbacks are 25 cents or 50 cents. Children's books are even less. So we want people getting them. So we use the donations. We sell books. We sell movies, audiobooks. Sometimes we'll have some odd collection of things that'll come in. These are people's homes, right? So whatever they were interested in, we get. We had a collection of baseball, the history of baseball, books going back to like the 30s. And we had a special. We did a little, marker and set them up and tried to sell those as a special collection. We had somebody donate an amazing set of Westerns. Leather-bound Westerns.
Wow.
Yeah, so we sold those for $5 a piece. Every once
What
in
a great deal.
And they came and bought. I mean, they were gone in a day and a half.
Oh, I bet they were. Yeah.
And one guy came in and he goes, "I wish I had known. I would have bought all of them." So every once in a while we'll get something interesting. But for the most part, we have the books. We have book sales twice a year, which is all we are allowed. before you start having to pay taxes and things like that. And then we have other things that we work with. We work with some vendors. They buy books from libraries. They do consignments with colleges, libraries, other schools. And they will give us 50% of their net on any book, which is a great deal for us.
That is a good deal.
Because it's much more than we would ever charge from the store. So we do that. We have other vendors that'll come in, and we will let them come into our store, into our back room, let them get whatever, because they're paying face value. Not the face value of the book, but our prices.
Right.
And so people will come in and they'll buy $50, $80, $150 worth of books and take them away, and we're thrilled. Because all of that goes into the pot. That pot then goes back to the library for programs. A couple years ago, we paid for the person and a lot of the support for a petting zoo to come to the library.
That's cool.
It was wonderful.
Remember the face painting and things
the lady who came from, why can't I remember the name of it? But she was Muslim, and she came from one of the organizations in Houston and showed us how to do a specific kind of very ancient painting.
The sand art, too.
Yes.
Sand art, wow.
And
really?
things of that nature that are just, you would have to go into Houston to see, and we're just bringing them to you, and it's free. What could be better than that, Hank?
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Hispanic community a little bit, because we have a really large Hispanic community here now, and which is, I never thought I'd see it, but it's here. It's interesting, and it's created some interesting situations like traffic and things like that. But how does the library serve the Hispanic community? And being that there's a language barrier there, does that make it extra challenging for you guys, or?
Well, it does for me particularly. I don't speak Spanish. I can understand a little bit when it's spoken to me. We provide, where possible, in the Friends bookstore, any kind of book that comes across that is written in Spanish, as well as any other language.
Do y'all have a lot of those, or is it?
It's pretty.
It's tough.
Iffy.
Is it really? Yeah, I thought
it's
maybe
iffy.
It was.
But now the library itself addresses that very well. I know this is several years ago when Lynn was manager that she applied for a grant, which she got, and it addressed nothing but purchasing books written in Spanish to address that diversity. And so there are a lot of those available in our library. We have a couple of staff members who are very fluent in Spanish so that they can speak to those
That's great.
non-English speakers who come in to Tullis. It's growing, Hank. I mean, it's just not one of those things that suddenly overnight you're prepared for. This
I know.
suddenly,
it's been crazy.
You know, the change and the diversity of this community happened so quickly. And so now we've got to figure out ways to address that.
Right.
And I think the library's doing a very good job so far.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
And so membership, if you want to join the library or become a member, how do you go about doing that, and what all is required?
Well, if you just want to join the library, you go in, you give them proof of address, and they give you a library card, and you renew it every 2 years.
Okay.
Doesn't cost anything.
Doesn't
So
cost
it's free.
anything.
It's free to become a member of the
Yes,
library.
and if you have a library card in Montgomery County, you can also use it in Harris County. They have a
Reciprocal
a reciprocal. Thank you, a reciprocal arrangement. So you can also
Okay.
use it in any of the Harris County libraries. Now, as far as being a member of the Friends,
The Friends has 3 membership levels.
Okay.
One is a student or retired person, and that's $5.
Is that annually or?
Yes, and
Okay.
it April to April,
Okay.
because that's when we do our board meeting for the electing and so on and so forth.
Okay.
The other is a $10 for that family or 2 members, and then 15 for a full family membership for a non-retired, non-student group.
Okay.
Okay, and that's it. And then you can choose to participate actively with the store. or with other things that we do, other events like this HARTA thing, or the prom giveaway. You know, we support the library came up with this giving away prom dresses and the accoutrement that go with it, purses, shoes, jewelry.
Nice. Yeah.
And the Friends paid for changing rooms. Portable changing rooms, so the girls could come in and try on the clothes, and they take them away, and they keep them.
Okay.
If they want to return them, they can. But that's another one of the things that we do with the funds that we raise. The library will come to us and say, you know, we need this or that. We want to do this kind of a program, and it's outside of their standard budget. So we help fund those things that are outside of their standard budget.
Okay.
And then we also match with the MSED grant. We have been lucky enough to be given the grant for the last many, many years, and the Friends match that grant.
MSED's an awesome community partner.
It is.
Really,
it is
they are.
amazing.
Yeah, and they have a mirror building to you guys, too.
Well, yes, and I don't know how much they're using that because they opened it up as a venue, so I'm not sure if they're still there or not. But yeah. It's been great having the funds from them. And as I said, all of it goes back into the library, and that is for purchasing of books and e-media. So electronic books, movies, audiobooks, and books.
Now, is there a lot of e-media at the library?
Yes.
I'm unfamiliar with this. I really haven't spent much time in the library since I was a kid. You know, and it's a shame, but I should actually go and be a little bit more involved. But
so a lot of people that don't like to go to the library physically, right? Mm-hmm. They also have books, electronic books, so you can go to the library and start getting ebooks if you want, and download them to your Kindle or to half a dozen other applications that people have, right?
Okay.
And you can get them from the Harris County as well. My husband is a movie buff, so he does a lot of renting of movies, or getting movies from the library.
Right.
And we get them from both Harris, or if they're not owned by either, there's this interlibrary thing that is Texas-wide. So they will go out to any library that has something and get it to you.
Wow. How many movies? Thousands?
Thousands.
Really?
Thousands of movies.
And
That's awesome.
The same thing is true with the books. You
Absolutely.
go through what is it? Hoopla and Libby. Hoopla and No, it is Libby. They got rid of Overdrive. It's Libby and Hoopla and download to a device. And she mentioned something I think is very important, too, that amazes me, is the Montgomery County Library System is in an agreement with an interlibrary loan system.
Okay.
So that if within their library or Harris County, they cannot find the book you want, they will send it out. I got a book once from the University of Iowa, which just blows me away, Hank, that you basically can sit in your living room, put something into your computer, and a few days later be notified that something has come from clear across the country to you.
I know, it's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's something else.
Yeah.
You know, and that's stuff that you and I weren't born with or raised with. It's still new and it's different.
Oh, it is.
You know, so I like it a whole lot. All right. I also wanted to ask about the meeting rooms again. We discussed that a little bit. And so do y'all, and we had talked when we met before about your ESL classes and things like that. Is that something that y'all do annually or?
No, the ESL was actually through Harris County that I was doing it. It was working with the library system there, and they provided me all the materials, but I was going down to this rec center off of Little York.
Okay.
And I was teaching down there. COVID shut that down.
Oh, I'll bet.
And
COVID shut everything down.
And I haven't been back since, but I would love to see us doing ESL here. Somebody would need to write a grant or agree to fund that. We would be happy to pay to buy the books and all the rest of it, the Friends, if the library would arrange with us to have those classes. And I think that, as you said, the Hispanic community is growing here.
Yeah,
I think
big
it would
time.
be very useful to have I went to Lone Star a couple of times with their continuing education things that they have, and they have ESL programs. But having them here in New Caney, I think would be much more useful to the people that are moving here than having to go down to Kingwood or to the many other areas
Right.
that they offer it, because they don't always offer ESL right in our area.
Are you familiar with Mission Northeast?
I
Yes.
am.
Okay, because I know Mission Northeast has an ESL program.
Yes, it
I'm wondering
does.
if maybe y'all could somehow
Merge and
merge.
I
it,
will.
yeah.
I will make a note of that to do
That
that.
might be the way to go.
Okay.
Because Mission Northeast is another great entity
Oh.
here in the community.
I
Without them, I don't know
yes.
where we'd be.
I don't either. I first met the woman who runs it,
Pam Dixon?
Pam. I kept wanting to say Patricia, and I know that
Yeah.
one right. Pam, you're right. She had applied for a grant from MSID as well, and I first met her there.
She is just a pistol.
She is
she's,
a-
she's awesome, isn't she?
She is
She
something
is.
else, but she runs an amazing ship there.
Oh, yeah.
And-
And ship is the actual word. That
and-
place is enormous.
It
It
is
is,
enormous, and I know during the pandemic, a neighbor of mine, a single mom, lost her job, was depending upon unemployment, and she was able to go every 2 weeks and get groceries through them. So, I think aligning ourselves with them for an ESL program sounds like a good idea. I'd
Yeah.
love to see that presented, Indira.
Yeah, I think that may work out.
I'll go.
Yeah.
I'll touch base with her, and see what we can do. Because I think that having a second venue or a second location or a second time, I don't know how often they offer it, but I think it would be great, and we need that.
Yeah. And maybe even if because I know their classroom there is not real big, it's
No.
kind of small. And so maybe even if they needed one of those meeting rooms, they could,
Absolutely.
do it there.
Absolutely. I know that in the MSED building, when Lone Star was still there,
Mm-hmm.
that class would be full
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll bet.
every single time, every single semester. That
Yes.
class was full. There's also, as I said, other things. There's right now they've just started one for anybody who's into crafting. So if you're doing a quilt or you're crocheting or knitting, just so you could do it with other people that are doing the same thing.
That's
Right,
awesome.
sit
Or
and-
learn how to do it.
Or learn how to
without
do it,
sticking
sit and
yourself in the
chat.
eye.
Right.
Yeah.
Me,
Okay.
the knitting needles always end up in my armpit.
Yeah, I
don't
wouldn't
know
want
why.
to. Yeah. I don't think I'd be able to do it.
Crochet is my thing,
Yeah.
but not knitting.
Okay. And back to the meeting rooms again. If someone had a public event that they wanted to try to hold at the library, who would they contact? Do they get in touch with somebody with friends?
No,
or-
no.
No?
You contact the library, and Dina, who is the assistant manager, has been in charge of this for a while, but they have a new woman who's now head of the reference section. Her name is Caney, and Connie schedules the room, the conference room, the study rooms, and the meeting room.
Okay.
And if she's not there, then Dina will do it. So you've got two choices of people there who will look on their schedule, write you down,
Okay.
put you in.
And the phone number is on the internet, RB
Yeah.
Tullis
Right.
Library, just
Okay.
call.
And if someone doesn't have a computer, like let's say there's a kid out there that's in high school and he doesn't have a computer or she doesn't have a computer, are there computers for them to use at the library?
Absolutely.
So they could go to the library and do their research and do their
Computers
papers
and
homework?
printers.
computers
Yeah.
and printers.
Okay.
yes.
And printers, but you do need to
Scanners.
be a member.
You need to be a member.
One of the things that we saw with once the library opened up during the COVID crisis, we saw an immense increase in membership from people who did not have a computer or printer at home.
Okay.
They needed to come in here, whether it was to file for financial assistance, look for a job, do homeschooling. Some people chose to do homeschooling instead of the remote schooling.
Right.
That because it was
Yeah,
harder.
homeschool's a big deal now.
It is, and so they have to use the computers at the library because they have to take tests and things like that to actually graduate.
Okay.
Right? There's a process. It's not just willy-nilly, we're going to homeschool.
Yeah.
So, yes, we have the computers, we have the printers there, but you do need to be a member of the library to use them.
And so when you apply for a membership, how long does it take to become a member? Like,
Well, you walk up to the circulation desk, say, I want a library card, and they come on out and say, give me your ID.
There,
Okay.
yes,
Bingo,
it's-
bango, you're
so
done.
it's just that quick.
You just need proof of your address. Parents can come in with an envelope of a utility bill or something and use that also to get membership for their children.
Okay.
So each child could have their own membership.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
And there's no charge.
And what about printing? So like if I wanted to print something, does it cost to print? You have to
It
pay?
does.
Okay.
15 cents per page.
Oh, that's nothing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. And it doesn't cost to use the computers, I don't think?
No,
or?
No.
you just,
Okay.
But you,
have
do
to
need to
log
make
in.
you have to make a reservation for computers just because the demand is so high.
Okay.
So they do ask you to call and reserve a time for yourself to use the computers.
That's great. And do you know if there are any computer courses for people who might be a little illiterate on
Yeah,
computers?
constantly. They are constantly offering classes on
great.
basic computer use, spreadsheets, all sorts of things that you would use a computer for. They're constantly offering classes. On the circulation desk up front, there is a calendar that's put out every month, and it shows everything that's being offered for the month.
Okay.
And that's also available on the internet if
And
you
it's
go
also
to their
available
website.
on the internet. Some of them are things that you have to sign up for because they have a limited space for it. But like the computers, the room where they have the computer classes has limited space.
Right.
But a lot of them, it's just a question of, oh, I want to go to that. I will show up at 7 o'clock Tuesday night, and there you are.
Okay. So libraries are funded mainly through donations, aren't they? I mean, for the
The
most
library has a budget that is done through the commissioners and the county. The special things are done through, I think, the Friends. That's where the Friends come in, where
Okay.
we raise money through the sale of our books through our stores, and we fund those things that are outside of the budget.
Give him an example
Okay.
of some things that we've purchased that are outside of their budget, Indira.
Well, we've purchased a coffee pot, we've purchased a refrigerator.
A refrigerator for the break room.
Yeah.
For the
That's-
break room,
that's
you know.
important, yeah.
I mean, these are people that are working there, so
Sure.
they bring their lunches and they have a place to put those things. We have, as I said, we've purchased or pay for the new snow cones that are coming in with the next event that they're doing for the summer
the
reading.
snow cone machine.
So we pay for things again that are not strictly in the budget,
Okay.
and their slush fund, if they have such a thing, doesn't cover. And I think that budgets in general have gotten tighter and tighter
everywhere.
right? Everywhere.
Yeah, I would think so.
And so we would love to see more people supporting Friends because we got like 5 new schools opening here. All of those kids at some point or another are probably going to be in our library. I would love to see the parents come and support the Friends who support the programs for their children. So
Okay.
it would be a great thing to
Is
do.
Friends of 501c3?
We are.
Yes.
Okay, great. So if somebody wanted to make a donation, if you'll give me that information, I can put it in the description of the video, and then that way somebody can send you guys a donation if they want to.
We
And can
also,
you become a regular donor, like it's something that's an annual thing, or
well, you could do the membership annually, like I said, April to April, but anytime anybody wants to donate, we even have a PayPal
Yes.
site, that for Tullis, our QR code is on the RB Tullis, the Friends of RB Tullis Facebook page,
Okay.
and on our right in the store, we have a window, and the QR code is right there.
Okay.
People can have, since we set that up, people are paying for books that way as well, if they don't have the actual cash.
okay,
And the books are a donation; they're not,
right.
yeah.
And so if you want to donate books to the library, how does that work? You
Come
just-
to the library, take them to the circulation desk.
Okay, take any kind of book.
Anything.
Except encyclopedias.
Take encyclopedias.
Nobody wants those anymore.
It's too bad.
It is-
You know, when I was a kid, I loved it when the encyclopedia
We had the
guy sold them
Encyclopedia
there.
Britannica, and my dad and I used to sit there, and every time the updates came, and we'd put them into the
Yeah.
books. Yeah, but no, nobody wants those anymore.
That's too bad.
It is.
You know what I liked when I was a kid, and I was drawn to it, and once I opened it, you couldn't get me away from it? The Thomas Register. I loved the Thomas Register. And still to this day, I mean, if I go to the library, it's the first place I'm going. Do they still have it? Is it still out?
I don't know.
I don't know either, Hank.
Yeah,
That's
the
a good
Thomas
question.
Register of American Manufacturers. Oh, it was awesome. I mean,
Well, I can imagine.
anything that you could think of that is being produced, it's in alphabetical order in that register, and you can look it up and see who the manufacturers are. And a lot of times they'll talk about how they make products, and I mean, it's fascinating.
I do not know if we still have that or not.
I'm going back to the library after we're through here because I have some work to do, and I'm going to look for that.
Yeah, it's a set. It's 6-8
look for
feet,
that,
and
Indira.
it's awesome. This good old Thomas Register. I
You know,
learned so much from the Thomas Register. It's unbelievable.
Imagine. You know, talking about PayPal and
The Thomas Register.
yes, thank you. PayPal and that sort of thing. Another thing I'd like to mention is that if you shop regularly at Kroger and you have a Kroger Rewards card,
Okay, yeah, we do. Yeah.
you can tie that into a charity, and Friends of RB Tullis Library is one of them, and then we get a percentage of everything you buy there.
And how do you? So if you've already got a Kroger's card, do you just go there and talk to them about tying
you
it?
can, but you can go onto their website and
Okay.
do it, and
Yes.
just
Wow.
fill all the information in, and then, you know, when you go in there and you buy $300 worth of groceries, relax knowing that the library's going to get some of that money.
That's cool.
I have forgotten what the measurement is. Do you remember, Indira?
I don't.
I don't remember, but it doesn't matter because every penny we get is appreciated.
And we were now Amazon has terminated their charity giving as of February 23rd this
Really?
year. Yeah, we
Yes.
just got a notification of it. But Amazon has been another consistent
yes.
source of funds for us. And that's a disappointment. That
Yeah,
is
it really
a
is.
disappointment.
We got a goodly share of money from that because not only all of us had Amazon Smiles, but the library, when they had to order things through Amazon, would tie it into the Friends of the Library. So they would spend money at Amazon, and Amazon would give part of that to us, and we'd give it back to the library.
Right.
But
Yeah, I'm sure there were groups that abused that privilege, and that's why Amazon.
That's
Oh,
what
that's
they
exactly
said.
right.
That's what
Yeah.
they said in their email, that a lot of the people that were turned out not to be real charities, or that even with, you can file the 501c, but you're not really doing the work.
Yeah, the charitable work. Yeah,
Of a 501c.
That's
so
too bad.
It
it
is.
is.
Yeah,
It is. We get caught up in the people who like to cheat, and so
Yeah.
it's taking food away from us, if you will. You know,
understand.
from our constituents and our members, and that's a disappointment. But Kroger is still doing it. So
And Randall's also.
Randall's.
Randall's,
as well.
but Randall's is harder to find up here.
It is. It's very difficult. You
Yeah.
have to go into Kingwood.
Yeah,
but-
there's a lot of Randalls out in Houston, though.
yeah.
Yes, there are.
Yeah, I used to live right down the street from a Randall's. So one of my first jobs was at Randall's.
Really?
Lasted about a week.
I'm sure there's a story there.
There's always a story there. Yeah, I just wasn't good at bagging and things like that. And actually appearing at work, I wasn't good at back then.
Well,
so.
that's always a problem.
Yeah,
You
it
kind of
sure
have to
was.
show up, don't you?
Yeah, I should have been hanging out at the library, but I wasn't. But, you know, I'm glad you guys came in. I think that the Friends of RB Tullis is just a great organization.
It is.
And,
it is.
What I'm going to do is put as much in the description of this video as I can so people can go and find out more about you guys, what you do, and what all's offered. And the one thing that I really wanted to take from this conversation was how viable libraries really are and the amazing and astronomically infinite things that are offered at the library
Yes.
besides just books.
It's not just a book.
So when we were
receptacle.
kids, there weren't a whole lot. It was just books, and that was really
it.
about it. You know, every once in a while they'd have maybe a special event, book giveaway or something like that. I think there used to be newspaper drives, if I remember right,
Yes.
where you brought your own newspapers in. I guess
Yes,
they
and they
recycle them.
did something
That
with
doesn't
them.
happen anymore.
Doesn't happen.
But nowadays, and especially here in our own community, we have a great library that offers a lot of stuff.
You know, one of the other things about the library, we have some regulars that come in, and they like to chat.
They do. Oh, they do.
And when you think about as you age, we get more and more isolated.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you still stay at home, because the neighborhoods keep changing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your friends move on. So they come to the library and they chat. And they talk about the books that they love. And so we stop and we talk to them. And I think that makes somebody's day. Just having that little time one-on-one with another human being about something that they love.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that just brings back that sense of community. So
It absolutely
we
does.
have to have that. Well, I appreciate you guys for what you do. I think it's an amazing job that you do for the library and for this community as well.
Well, thank you, Hank.
Thank you.
So if I can ever be of any assistance in the future, I certainly will.
Well, you could join.
I will. As a matter of fact, we'll do that as soon as we close out here.
All right.
So I'll take care of that.
And come on Saturday next week, the 11th. Come
Okay.
and see the HARTA Friends book
I'd like
giveaway.
to do that. And what time would be best for me to show up then?
I would say around noon,
Okay.
11:30 noon. You get to see the teachers that are there, and then as we open it up to the general public.
Okay, sounds great.
Okay.
Did you have any closing statements you'd like to make?
I will send you a copy of the press release that we're doing with the HARTA that
Okay.
our member Linda has done an
Linda.
extraordinary amount of work with HARTA to get this thing going.
Yes, she has. She's
So-
incredible.
Linda and the HARTA folks have done a press release, and Linda designed a poster. So I'll get you copies of both of those.
Okay, sounds great. All right. Anything?
No, I think Indira's pretty much covered it. I love the library, loved it since I was a child, and I would like everybody in this community to love it the same way. It's
Sounds
a good
good.
place to be.
I agree. All right, guys. Well, there you have it. So you learned a little bit today, at least I did, about the library system and about Friends of the Library. And so I invite you to come to RB Tullis Library. If you haven't been there, it's an awesome place. Come check it out. I mean, the worst thing that can happen is you'll walk there and find something you like or learn something you didn't know about. If you get a chance, run to that Thomas Register. It's going to be there, I'll bet you. And I'm Hank Vatt. This is Hank's Think Tank, and it looks like we're out for today.